Hi everyone, welcome to BrickVault, this is Mike and welcome to another Top 10 MOCs video, a Sunday episode where we show off our favorite creations from the passing week. Sometimes there are 10 creations, sometimes there are more, but everything you see in this episode is in the links below. Quick note about the Fan MOCs episode, this is not a dead series as many of you have suggested, but we just had a bit of a delay this week because of all the reviews from the Star Wars and Endgame waves, along with some MOCs we are working on, so those episodes are coming back possibly this week and the weeks to follow. Before we jump into those amazing MOCs for this week, I want you guys to check out our web store at www.brickvault.toys. The latest model that was landed in our web store is the USS Enterprise from Kevin J. Walter. The amazing 5,000 piece MOC of the iconic ship. There is a detailed video made by Jack, so I'm gonna link it below if you wanna check it out. And as always, every model purchase you guys make in our web store supports our designers that we work with, like Kevin, and also our channel here at BrickVault keeps us going, so we always appreciate every single bit of your support. Alright, now into the MOCs. We have the first builder, logonw, coming up with the Scrooge McDuck, inspired by the latest, the announced series of Disney minifigures Series 2. And immediately this thing I think wins the award for the best part usage in this episode. If you look closely, you can see some excellent connections in this small little model. The beak for the Scrooge McDuck is made from the shoulder pads available in the Boba Fett Big Fig from Star Wars. The feathers on the side of his head are used from those flying keys from one of the old Harry Potter sets, and I think the torso is coming from one of the Bionicle sets as well. This builder is quite known for creating some really amazing designs with very bizarre part usage in many ways. So if you wanna see some really creative Lego building, then his Flickr page is the way to go. Also this week, Team Goddard is coming back with another amazing build. This time he explored the realm of Aquazon. Many of you may not know what it is, but this is one of my favorite themes from the 90s. One of the very first sets I received from my parents were the Aquazon sets, and I'm still very nostalgic about them. Those blue and yellow submarines and whatnot were part of a pinnacle of Lego sci-fi building, and they're still awesome to this day. And definitely Team Goddard is bringing back memories with this amazing build of some more updated sub of the bigger one, and also some drones exploring the seabed and finding some treasures the same way the Aquazon sets did back in the 90s. And this next build is coming from a builder I'm not very familiar with, but glad that I found him. This is Daniel Church, and his MOC is titled Wasteland Monocycle. The picture shows this thing in motion. It's a really cool steampunk looking build of sorts, but this is not just a graphical illusion, it is actually a movable MOC, as you see in this short video. It is quite a clever build to propel the whole thing, and even comes with a stand. So this is nothing short of impressive. I really enjoy such creative and well put together builds, and if they employ some sort of a function or surprising action like this, then the whole creation is even more impressive. Daniel is also into building mechanical things of sorts with usually legs on it. He created the Pantera PMK-11 Peacekeeper mech, and also this cute Dodo mech. Both of these may take the spot for this week's mech of the week. But I think I may have something a bit even better, which is the next creation coming from Zayn Houston. This is the Kuiper belt Brawler. If you guys are watching our episodes for a while, you know I have a thing for beefy, military looking, or just a lot of firepower having mechs. And this thing is maybe not very packed with weapons or such, but I really like the mechanical details to it, like those two wheels that the thing is moving on. There is also a lot of armor involved. The color combination of dark blue and white works pretty well. Plus the design of this thing, having the main head a bit below the shoulders, makes it that much beefier in the appearance. It does need a stand, however, of course, to stand up. I mean, how else can you really position it? And I think this mech was built for quite a while, but Zane finally decided to show it off. And it seems like we've been missing out a lot. Check out his Flickr page, he's really into sci-fi builds of all sorts, and you will definitely find browsing through his stuff quite enjoyable. But for the next spots on the list, let's get into some microscale building, which I always enjoy. Cubo31 has created a Microscale IKEA, your favorite meatball vendor. Oh, I mean furniture, obviously, but having an IKEA close to my home here in the US, and even having one back in Poland, I did visit that place quite a few times to furniture my small apartments and just have some excellent Swedish meatballs. But taking a look in the MOC itself, you can see some very clever techniques techniques for some of the elements of the iconic buildings. Pretty much all of the IKEA stores in the world looks kind of the same to each other. He did use some clever builds for the trees in the parking lot, and also there is the use of, I think, lever pieces to get those shaded areas next to the entrance of the building. And of course the brick build letters showcasing the IKEA name and its logo at the same time are a perfect little touch, making this MOC instantly recognizable. I think the IKEA creation is built in a way to fit your standardized microscale city, and that just adds to the high value of this small little MOC. The next micro build I chose for this week is a bit different, a bit like quite different to be honest with you. Coming from Corvus Auriac MOCs, this is the Château du Dragon, which is the dragon's castle, I guess, in loose translation. Excellent little depiction. I really love the overall looks of it. That small dragon at the top is really adding a lot to the scene. Reminds me of that small Hungarian horntail from the Hogwarts castle set. But looking at the castle itself, we have excellent use for the dishes to portray the tips of the towers, a bunch of micro figures to portray even more elements to the facade of the castle. There's a small bridge in the front with some great gate building, and the rock formation below in the water is used through those, as I call them, nexonite rock elements. Excellent level of detail packed into such a small creation, and I simply love that it is more vertical than horizontal. That just adds that bit much of a punch of the MOC, and pretty much all the creations from this builder are excellent. As all of the builders I talked about today, his Flickr page is worth a look. The next one is possibly the funniest MOC in this lineup, coming from Andreas Lenander. That is a creation that was made over several weeks actually, but now he has a full-on picture with, I think, the entire lineup of this type. The Fabuwars collection, and I did chuckle quite a bit just looking at every single individual creation in this lineup. The one on the left is called the Piggy Punisher, originally driven by the FABULAND Piggy. Love the build for that rocket launchers with mid-flight rockets. The Bunny Slayer is the mech with two massive guns in the front, excellent build as well. The T-Rex with the massive weaponry on top of it doesn't really have a name, but it must be the coolest one out there. Well, except maybe for that massive tank driven by the Buster Walrus and Felix the Tank Fox. The tank bike on the right is the Brutal Birdie, and if you do not chuckle at least a bit about any of these MOCs, I am not sure where your sense of humor has gone. Alright, but on a more serious note, the next build is the 1959 Salem Ameriliner library bus, which is an excellent concept for me. I never ever thought that there is a such thing in existence. This model is built by Elliott, and this is a fantastic piece of knowledge, knowing that there was a converted Greyhound bus that was usually cruising on long distances between American cities, actually converted to a traveling library. The build at its scale has everything it needs to have to depict this quite crazy looking bus, and very cool one at the same time. We have compartments full of books where normally the luggage goes. The whole thing opens up, revealing the converted interior with the bookshelves and the tables to read. Quite amazing detailing, I gotta say, and it's really colorful on the inside, even though it's more like a gray chunk on the outside, just like those buses looked like back in the days. But the most thing I really appreciate about this MOC is the topic, which is quite unique, quite original, and just the epitome of the sentence, you learn something every day. I really never knew that library buses ever existed. And speaking of American vehicle history, I think you're gonna like this MOC by a well-known designer to us, Norton74. The title is Americana Mustang Hardtop Barn Find. Now, for those of you who are outside the US, and something I did not know before, barn finds is an activity of finding a rare, well-preserved vehicle, usually a muscle car like a Mustang, in an old barn somewhere in the Midwest or somewhere, maybe Texas, some southern states, and trying to buy this car from a local farmer, get it up and running, and bump the value of a perfectly preserved vintage vehicle. I love the car, I love the barn build, also a lot of the detailing and items found outside the barn, as you would usually find in such an old farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the US. There is even a small rusty pump, and overall a very accurate depiction of how such scene of finding a great barn find Mustang would look like. And the last MOC I want to talk about in this episode that I did not, I think, talk about for quite a bit of a time is a modular building. Coming from the designer Kofi, this is just titled CC House, I'm not sure what that means, but what we have here is an absolutely excellent modular building, and I always enjoy finding these on Flickr. First of all, the build quality is amazing. The front facade is showing some excellent techniques, especially for those curved stairs to a bit of a raised up entry to the brick building on the right. Some funny scene outside. I think he used the minifigure of Newt Scamander from the Fantastic Beasts, along with the Niffler hiding from the dog behind that small bush. There's a guy holding a dolphin, not sure what's going on there. Excellent detailing for those rusty drainage pipes. One of them is about to break. I think it's a bit of an old building. There's an amazingly built plant on one of the balconies, and overall a very pleasant look for such a detailed exterior. The building of course has entirely flushed out interior. There is a collage of pictures showing what has been done inside the building. And the back is also really funny, with one of the Angry Birds characters in the garden along with Batman and Superman just enjoying some soccer play. Kofi is mentioning that he is not really into modular buildings, and this is one of the first attempts after a long time for him to approach one, and I think he really pulled it off. Alright, that's gonna be it guys for this a bit of a longer episode for Top 10 MOCs. This week's creations were really amazing. I wanted to take my time to talk about them just a bit. I hope you enjoyed that, and as always I did find even more creations this week that I'm gonna link below as well. They are flashing right now on the screen. So make sure to visit everybody's Flickr page, give them a follow and show them some love for what awesome things they do. Fan MOCs is coming back soon. Please stay tuned. We don't really know how it's gonna get back on the schedule with those episodes, but we will. And thank you so much for watching again. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, you can always leave a like and subscribe below, and also click the bell button for notifications. It was Mike, and I'll see you next time on BrickVault.